Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome to a summer edition of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. This feature is around basketball camp, so it's going to be a basketball-oriented show. Have a star-studded cast here today, so really excited, and we're going to save two of the other celebrities for the next segment, but I'm joined now by our new esteemed president, Dr. Tim Borchers. Dr. Borchers, glad for joining us here.
Thank you. It's fun to be here. I'm enjoying being on campus. It's been, I guess I'm in my third week now.
Third week, so kind of fill us in here. You come from Peru, Nebraska, all the way to West Virginia. You're 3 weeks in. I imagine you've been pretty busy.
I've been pretty busy meeting with people, trying to get to know the place, trying to get to know the people. I think it's really important to form those personal connections with people so that you understand what their needs are and what I can do to help meet them. Peru State College is very similar to West Liberty. It's the oldest school in Nebraska on a hilltop. Good basketball program there as well. Very similar student population, so I feel like it's going to be a pretty smooth transition here.
So in these first 3 weeks, rumor has it you've been out and about a little bit. Have you been out in the local community? Have you had the luxury of attending anything?
I went to the July 4th symphony concert before I actually had a first day in the office, so that was a good way to meet some alums, to meet some community leaders, so that's been pretty nice. Have made several trips to the Highlands, I will admit, to try to get our house all set up and take in a few of the establishments out there. Planning to take in some activities in Wheeling this weekend.
Yeah, it's. I think you're going to find there's a lot going on. Of course, there's people in New York City say, I'm bored, there's nothing to do. So we get that a lot, but there actually is a lot of things going on in the area. And I've actually heard that you've been out and you've been meeting people, which is a great thing. You're going to be welcomed with open arms. Your lovely wife has joined you.
Yep, my wife and our 3 cats. And we're up in Colonial Heights, the president's house on the top of the hill. And hope to have people out there this year to meet with them and just to enjoy the nice house that we have. Well,
Dr. Borchers must be in pretty good shape because I offered to come up and help move. I offered to bring people to come up move, and he said, no, I got it. So we would have gladly helped, but it's nice that you're self-sufficient.
Yeah, we might have a few big pieces of furniture to move around as we're second-guessing a few of them, but I think otherwise we're in pretty good shape.
So coming into this situation, you've been here 3 weeks. Any initial plans, anything that other than maybe getting to meet people, or is that kind of the agenda here?
That's kind of the agenda right now, just to try to meet people, to try to create a list of needs, to create a list of priorities that we need to pursue this year. Definitely strategic planning will be one thing that's up for renewal, and I hope to have a very inclusive process to hear from faculty, staff, students, alumni, fundraisers as we look at what the next priorities for the university should be.
Well, the good thing, it's not long. It's today is July 18th. We'll be playing athletic events here within a month.
Yeah.
As the teams come back to school. This has been a segment of maybe 3 consecutive weeks of camps. What's your feelings on camps at institutions?
Well, it's really fun to have high school students on campus or even younger for the camps. We have basketball camps, obviously, and volleyball camp, but we also have a band camp this year. So 6:30 in the morning, I'm hearing the drums outside of our windows waking us up, but it's fun to have that energy. Sometimes campuses get a little dry over the summer with not a lot of students around, so it'd be great to have the students start moving in and getting the sports going and all the other activities of the year.
I can remember those days of band camp because where our current track is, that used to be faculty housing. So I actually lived down there for several years, and I can remember those days. Band camp starts at 8 in the morning, and actually when I came to work today, it took me forever to get to the ASRC because they were marching in front of me. So I had to patiently creep along while they were marching. But we had volleyball camp, women's basketball camp, men's basketball camp, and now band camp. So I do think it's great to get these people on campus and things. So let's ask you some tough questions. Favorite sport?
Football.
football. Favorite, now you're not allowed to say Nebraska Cornhuskers. Do you have a favorite NFL team?
I really don't. I grew up in western Nebraska, so there were a lot of Denver Broncos fans, and then I moved to Minnesota Vikings fans, and then I lived in Peru, Nebraska, so Kansas City Chiefs fans. So I'm kind of not really picking a favorite. I think I spend most of my football budget on Saturdays watching college football, so I don't have a whole lot left on Sunday to spend.
Yeah, I agree. And I grew up, obviously, in our area. You're born a Steeler fan. And, of course, we always brag we got like the 6 Super Bowls and things. But once I became employed at the college level, coaching my own teams and then being involved in administration, it's almost like I didn't have time to fit the NFL in my schedule. Now, I'm still consumed with Saturday college football. So we go to our games, and then I'm going home, and my wife knows I'm going straight to the couch and turn on TV. And one of the things, and you can speak to this briefly, that I think are very comparable between West Virginia and Nebraska, you do not have professional sports in your state. West Virginia doesn't have professional, when I say professional, major league. So we either borrow teams or you're just consumed with whether it's your state flagship institution. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. And Nebraska football is huge in the state, but also Creighton basketball and Husker volleyball is probably the if you'd ask people right now, the biggest sport in the state is probably Nebraska volleyball. They're going to actually play a volleyball game in Memorial Stadium at the end of August to 90,000 people. So they're hoping to break the all-time world record for most people to watch a women's sport. So Husker volleyball is just as big as anything.
That's pretty cool. And volleyball has continued to grow. It's becoming, I don't want to say it's not a mainstream sport, because in the United States everybody thinks basketball, baseball, football, but volleyball at the collegiate level and the high school level has just exploded.
It is, and it's exciting to watch.
Oh, it is. Yeah. And to put a plug in for our own volleyball team, our program is on the rise, and I'm excited to see them going here. And I think you're going to be a little surprised. We get pretty good crowds for women's volleyball here.
Good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the first games and the last games and the cold football games and the fun basketball games.
Well, we got lucky last year. Homecoming, which due to a quirk in the schedule, we did late in October. It was like 85 degrees that day. It was unbelievable. If you could script the weather that you want for homecoming, but it can get cold here in November, so be prepared for that, and we'll make sure we get you some Hilltopper gear to take it to the next level and protect you from the elements. But we are just thrilled to have you here. It's been great working with you here in the short term. And Hilltopper Nation, if they could reach out and talk back to us, I'm sure they would be welcoming you as well. But we're just thrilled, and hopefully you can get out and attend sporting events and be part of Hilltopper Nation. And let's not make this our last podcast.
No, and I can't wait to meet the alums and get them engaged with the university and show off all the good things that we're doing here.
Well, speaking of alums, after we take a quick break, we're going to come back with 2 legendary men's basketball players. So right now we're going to take a break, and we'll be back shortly.
The Panhandle Difference.
We were very fortunate to have worked with Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. The team that we worked with was extremely professional. They were flexible and very receptive to our needs during that difficult time, and it gave us the opportunity to open very quickly and get our casino up and running for our customers.
With Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome back to a special edition of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. As we mentioned, 2 esteemed alums now joining us, legendary basketball stars. So quickly, we're going to start with the man on my right, your left. This is Gary Gould. He played here in the late 80s and scored 1,500 and some points and On my left is Eric Bavard, who played here in the mid-'90s, and you scored 1,893 or something.
Yes.
I did the
That's
numbers.
pretty good. I'm impressed. I
Yes.
think that's it. Nailed it right on the head.
But two legendary former players, Eric and I, because I was actually in my early years of coaching, Eric was a player here, so he and I have caught up many times over the years. Mr. Gould here, he started here as I graduated. So he came in right after I graduated. I was affiliated with another university. I did get to see him play in college several times, but really never had the opportunity to meet him until yesterday. Found a great photo of him.
Yes,
But two great guys. So, Gary, we're going to start with you. Quickly tell us, how is it that you ended up at West Liberty?
Well, I came to a basketball camp, Metro Index camp, run by Paul Holshoe, who ended up being my coach. So I guess, long story short, you never know who's watching you, to give you an opportunity to progress into your sport that you love. So, round story, basketball camp. While I'm back again, I'm bringing some of my kids this year to the camp to enjoy the West Liberty culture, and it's been great.
Eric, tell us your recruiting story.
Yeah, I was actually a freshman at Butler Community College, and we scrimmaged West Liberty, and we were all freshmen and sophomores at Butler, and I think we put one on West Liberty pretty good. And after that, they decided to start recruiting some of the players from Butler Community College, and came here on a visit, and just loved the facility at the time. Really, appreciative of Coach Dan Petrie for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, I was joking with Gary yesterday. Gary was one of the original Skywalkers. So you talk about one of my heroes when I was in high school was David Thompson. If you remember David Thompson, he was the Skywalker. Gary's game was similar to David Thompson. Eric, when he got here, and I want to tell this story, during open gyms in the fall, because the rules were radically different there. You didn't have individual workouts. Right. You really couldn't do anything with your team until October 15th. So the teams would get together. They would play every night. And, of course, I'm young and single and living in the gym. And I would watch them play. And then Eric and Ron Wells, as soon as the games was over, they would put on a dunking show. And here's Eric flying two-hand tomahawk dunks. And then you quit jumping your last couple of years. How did that come about?
Man, I think I actually, I actually overtrained, honestly. I worked so hard. I never took any days off, was looking at 2 and 3 workouts a day. I think by the end of my senior year, I needed a couple weeks break, but that wasn't my mentality. So luckily I never lost my shooting touch and my scoring ability and all that, but I did lose some jumping ability, no doubt.
Now, Gary, was the dunk, it was brought back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
So could you dunk in your era? Was that legal?
Yeah. Yes, but unfortunately in high school I didn't dunk as much. I don't know what it was, if it was I didn't understand the game enough at the time, but I didn't dunk as much. I was a shooter in high school. We didn't have a three-point line when I was in high school, so all of my scoring ability came from the perimeter, and I averaged over 20 points a game in high school without a three-point line. So the first day I stepped on the visit, I came from my visit here at West Lib, I looked down at the line, and I asked one of the kids, what was that line? and he said it was a three-point line. I said, you mean you get 3 points from shooting from behind this line? He was like, yeah, you didn't have it in Maryland? So in '85, it wasn't in Maryland yet. So I'm glad that I found the three-point line in college. It helped me out a lot.
Well, actually, I quickly went through the stats today, and you actually probably embraced that line quicker than most people, because remember, you came in 92. You came in 85, so the line hadn't been in effect that long. And in those early years, I know in West Liberty, in the first year of the three-point line, the entire team probably didn't take 50 in an entire year. So you actually did shoot a lot of threes, and he shot it at a high clip. He was in the 40s.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome.
I think 42 for the career, 42 3 or something like that.
But Eric was just an unbelievable scorer, to average 28 a game 2 years in a row. And I make Coach Hallett mad all the time because he'll ask me, come on now, how good was Eric? And I have him as one of the best players on a very short list in school history. And Eric's known he was a great, great shooter as well. But you had one of the quickest first steps I've ever seen.
Yeah. I joke with my team at Chaminade now, and I tell them that, coming from Brockway, Pennsylvania, there was no internet and so forth. So I developed this, what we call plyometrics now, in my basement. I thought I was getting an advantage on everybody. I thought, man, I got this new system where I'm going to create these jumping and I'm going to be faster and quicker than everybody. And then I got to college and realized, well, everybody's doing this. So, just a credit to hard work to be able to get to that level and opportunity in the right place at the right time.
If anybody out there is watching from Gary's era, we don't have any film. So if anybody out there possibly has film, know of someone that has film, we would love to get it. We'll pay for the copies of it. But I was the SID here for years, and we just do not have film from your area. Well, enough about the past. Let's talk about the present. Gary, we'll start with you. Kind of tell us the direction your life took after West Liberty.
Well, after I left West Lib, I played in a couple of little leagues, nothing major really. Then I got into coaching. I wanted to give back to the young folk what I was taught growing up, at the passion that it takes, the discipline. I thank my West Liberty experience for helping me with that. So now I coach at a private school, Catholic school in Talbot County, which is Eastern Maryland, St. Peter and Paul High School. Been there for 7 years. I have a couple good players that's, hopefully I can tutor and mentor them to get to the next level. The school's great. I have great kids, great fan support. And basketball is really all I know, so this is all I do all day long. I brought 10 kids to the camp this year just to give them the experience to see West Liberty's exciting basketball team. Actually, quick off the stride, last season we went to the championship game and we mirrored pretty much everything West Lib did last year. We tried to play at the same pace. We watched film on West Lib to understand some of the little nuances that they was doing. And our fate ended up the same as West Liberty's. We lost in the championship game. So, we was happy that we had that opportunity. And I owe a lot to, the people before me who taught me what I know.
Well, that's great. Okay, Eric, fill us. I obviously know. Fill in people that may not have been able to follow you.
After graduating from West Liberty, had the opportunity to play professionally. Played professionally in Europe and Australia for a while, but had a season-ending ACL injury in Australia, and decided just to move to Myrtle Beach with old college friends from West Liberty, and fortunate to get a head coaching job right off the bat. And so I coached high school basketball and taught down in South Carolina for 5 years, and then got the opportunity that changed my life. Coach Crutchfield called me up when he got the job here as head coach and said, "Hey, I need you to come be my assistant coach." And so from there, just embraced that opportunity. Always wanted to get into the college level, and fortunately, working under him, I learned an incredible amount. Learned basketball in a different way, and everybody knows that he's a legend here. He's a legend in the state, legend in the nation now, and so the success that he had and that we had over that 7-year period allowed me an opportunity to get the head coaching job at Chaminade University in Hawaii, and I've been there for 12 years, going into year number 13. Live a block off of Waikiki Beach, and my kids live a different life than I live, that's for sure. But incredibly fortunate just to, West Lib has given me so much in life, and I'm so grateful to come to school here and return as a coach. And it's so fun coming back, you know, to camp here and bringing my kids here. And they're like, oh, Dad, this is where you played? I said, well, this is where, it wasn't this gym, but this is where I played, and this is where I went to school. So many great memories. Just awesome coming back here. I look forward to it every year.
Well, we were catching up earlier. Gary played in what was then Bartell Fieldhouse, which was built in '82, and that was state of the art.
At the time.
Yeah, that was big time at the time. Eric got recruited to play in Bartell, and then his senior year, engineers come in and shut the building down. And I can remember, I'm coaching the women's team. We're on the road. We had scored 103 games in a row. Yeah. We were absolutely on a roll. And my boss, Jim Watson, called me and said, hey, got some bad news for you. They condemned the gym today. We're moving into Blatnick Hall. So we moved in there. So Eric had to finish his career in Blatnick. But how funny is it? We're still utilizing that for camp.
It's great.
Awesome.
It's great.
So both of you.
I'm still sweating up there.
Yes.
I just had a session up there, and I sweat a lot in 1995 up there, and back up there sweating again today. And actually, it's a pleasurable sweat.
It sounds the same.
Yes.
Every time the ball hits,
Yeah.
it's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, Coach Huffman always says every gym has a unique smell.
Yeah.
So he said you could blindfold him and take him, and he would know as soon as you walked in Blatnick, this is Blatnick.
For sure, for sure. It's a smell of pleasure for me. A lot of great memories. And fortunately, they did a great job of making the gym really nice. And it was a home court advantage for us. A small gym like that was super loud, great fan support, a pretty exciting team. And yeah, it was fun times for sure.
Okay, do you have a specific memory, a game, something about when you played? And you'd be thinking the same thing.
All of my games, now that I sit back and reminisce and think about it, I thought I was an offensive guy, you know. But then I sit back and look at some of the numbers. I played defense, I found that's the most important part of the game of basketball to me. You know, being able to stop the other team from doing what they want to do. But I think there's one game we played against Waynesburg, and they had a All-American, Darren Walls. And we played them here. And I think I have a couple pictures where I blocked his shot a couple times on the glass. But just playing against those All-Americans at the time, I outdueled them every time. I outplayed every All-American I played against. I took it personal. And I think that was the beginning of my toughness, you know, not backing down and trying to be better than your opponent. I think that really formed me into who I became later into life in basketball. But just all of the games, honestly, I just love the atmosphere or the feeling of putting on the West Lib jersey at that time. You know, it meant something different to me at that time, but seeing how West Lib has evolved to what it is now, I really think that, you know, it meant a lot, you know, because West Lib now is a great place for basketball, and especially I followed this man as I was going through. He was ahead of me in the scoring, and I always wondered, how is this guy scoring so many points every year like this? I mean, these guys, ever since I've come in, 2,000 points seem like it's easy to come by. And it's just amazing that, you know, to be able to see these guys now and talk to them, and then just have a feeling that they knew me, you know, that they knew my name. You know, so West Lib is a big family to me, and I like, you know, that's why I bring kids back.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'd be remiss, we talked about those great Waynesburg teams of the 80s. My first coaching mentor was Rudy Marisa, who just passed away this summer. So feel really bad about that because he was Coach Crutchfield before Coach Crutchfield. You know, what he did with Waynesburg. Yeah. And they played a unique style. So, Eric, what about you?
Couple memories. First one is, you know, scoring 49 points against Alderson and Broadus, and I had no clue. You know, I was walking off the court down there, and they said, Eric Bavard sets a gym record of 49 points. And I looked at my roommate, JR, I was like, did he say 49? I thought I had like maybe 30 tops. And so that was crazy, you know, and getting the win along with that. But the top memory would be beating Salem. I think they were Salem Takeo at the time. I know they're a different name now, but they were number 2 in the country. they were really, really good, and we got them on our home court, and we just took it to them. You know, all 5 guys out there on the court were just playing like madmen, just playing awesome, and we knocked off the number 2 team in the country, and that was probably the most exciting memory.
Yeah, some loaded Salem teams. Now, was Mike Carey coaching Salem at that time?
Yes.
So Coach Carey, a legend in his own
Yeah.
right. Here's an unusual question for both of you. Would you prefer to play in today's game? Obviously, less post players, more spacing. So you go first.
Yes, I would love to play in this game. If I think I was a little bit before my time, as far as the stuff that I was able to do. It didn't translate back then, but I believe right now, I would love to be a part of this, the running, the transition of it, and the threes, and the way they attack the rim. I would love that. And I think my high flying ability would have really been a real part of this up and down thing.
You got more dunks, for sure.
Way more dunks.
You got more dunks.
Yes.
No doubt. I mean, you know, especially the way West Liberty plays. You know, watching Coach Crutchfield implement this system and being there to be part of it, you know, hands-on, you know, I'm thinking, man, I would have loved to play in this style, in this system. Now, I would have had to play a lot more defense, and I would have had to, you know, do a lot more running and so forth, but it would have been incredible. You know, West Liberty has changed the way a lot of people play, not only in this conference, but across the country. Yes. I mean, it's had an influence across basketball, you know, across the United States for sure. So, yeah, it would be an awesome experience.
Well, one of the things that you can take great pride in, you were here from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I can still remember Coach Crutchfield and I, who go way back.
Yeah.
Coach Crutchfield and I actually were on the same high school staff. Mm-hmm. He was the youngest head boys coach in the state of West Virginia, my hometown.
Did he coach basketball in high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we've been close forever, but he always said, as soon as we offered him the head coaching job, I said, who are you going to get for an assistant? He said, I got my guy. I'm going to get Eric Bavere to come back. But you were here at the beginning of it, so.
Yeah, and, you know, I laugh about it now, but at the time, Coach Crutchfield drove to South Carolina and met with me, and he told me about this elaborate plan of the way we're going to play and so forth. And I'm bought in. I'm like, let's do it. But there's a little bit in the back of my mind thinking, whew, you know, we may give up 150 points a game. You know, if we're going to press, trap, chase people like crazy and so forth. But you know, it was awesome to see that his vision at that time period. I was fortunate to be there witnessing it, you know, and Coach Hallett now was a player, one of the first players that I recruited. I had the opportunity to recruit. Coach Crutchfield pretty much had the team in place when I got the job. So the next recruiting class, one of the first guys I went after was Coach Hallett. And, you know, his ability to score the ball was fabulous. So, yeah, just being there at the start was magical. To see how it's played out over the past 20 years is something incredibly special.
Well, what I think is cool, one, that you're using it as a high school coach and had success with it. And if anything, this year when we get a national championship game between Jim Crutchfield, Nova, versus Ben Hallett, West Liberty,
That was awesome.
Just incredible.
For any doubters left out there, because you're always going to have your doubters. Well, they've never won a national championship or whatever. Well, the two teams that play the system the most meet in a national championship game. There can't be any doubters anymore, right? Those days are over.
No doubters.
So
I heard that for years. Well, they win a lot of games, but they can't win the big one, you know, and so forth. And that's debunked now for sure. And you talk about a game. I don't think I was ever more excited for a basketball game. I could not sleep. I'm in Hawaii, and I'm debating on booking a flight because I had to get on a flight within an hour in order to make the game. I booked a ticket, but then I realized there's no way I could make it. So I had to cancel my ticket. But the anticipation, I couldn't sleep the night before the game.
That was awesome.
You know, was happy for Coach Crutchfield, you know, winning it, no doubt about it. Torn on both directions because I would have been happy with whoever won. But I think West Lib's they're gonna have plenty of shots of winning theirs. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I hope so, because Coach Hallett has just done an unbelievable
Yes.
job here.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
so proud of him. So proud of him. You know, I feel like, you know, just having an influence of helping bring him here, you know, and being able to coach him, and then he was a student assistant with us, and just to see the success he's had, we're just so proud of.
well, when it's such a small world, basketball camp got you here as a student athlete.
Yeah.
Basketball camp has got you back. Basketball camp has brought you back.
Yes.
So it's just great catching up with you two legends. We are going to attempt to get a picture here later in the day, and we'll throw Coach Hallett in there. And I think it was 5,057 points between the three of you. So we'll get that picture. But thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. That wraps up this edition, Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Summertime basketball. It doesn't get any better than that. See you soon.
Thanks.
The Panhandle Difference.
Westbanco appreciates our more than 15-year relationship with Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. They're a one-stop shop that handles all of our work, whether it's quick projects or whether it's a project that might involve multiple locations, multiple branch locations. We appreciate the relationship. Doesn't matter what we throw at them or how complex it is. They get it done quickly and they do a great job.